Good afternoon, Dr. Park. This is my video pitch for the Capstone paper. And before I get into detail about what specifically my pitch is, I wanted to give a little bit of background on how I got to this area. Whenever I first saw the era of revolutions, I thought that this was going to be a wartime military history course, a lot about well, military history specifically. And then this coming from somebody that is more interested in the cultural exchange aspect of history. That is the background that I took for my MA at Sam Houston, which I got accepted to, and I will be participating in the fall. So I went to this class thinking, how on earth am I going to write a capstone paper that has to do with cultural exchange during the Revolutionary era? And then the very first day of class, you had us pick out of a whole bunch of different books and speed read through them. And I got the pleasure of speed reading through the book on sailors getting American citizenship through essentially this loophole of work. And I found it absolutely fascinating. And I learned that that was a position that I could take in this time of strife and conflict and stuff like that. That no matter what, cultural exchange is something that, and cultural exchange and identity is something that stretches throughout, space and time, and no matter what's going on, people are hunting for identity. That being said, my specific pitch is the subtext of revolution is the journey for a set identity. And what I mean by that is an identity that is both legal in nature and also personal in nature. So somebody who personally identifies as an American is also legally an American as well. That's something that coincides and is set, and that fully defines who they are in course of every aspect of life. And I say this is the subtext because I don't want to be so bold as to say that this is the reason that all these different revolutions happen, because that's not true. And the subtext isn't the same for each revolution. For example, the American Revolution, the subtext is basically mostly white men who identify as British don't feel as if they're being treated like Brits. So you have the legal definition of what is British to Americans that are identifying as British is fuzzy. This causes strife, in which case you're not really, there isn't us or them, but it's hard to discern who the us and them is because everybody's identifying as Brits. And you're just now getting to this patriot movement where people are starting to identify as Americans instead of Brits, but that's only because they weren't allowed to be British, at least in their eyes, or they didn't feel like they were being treated as British in their eyes. In France, it was marginalized people, from people of color to people of different religions to people with different jobs, like actors and executioners that we talked about in class. These people that personally identified as French that were marginalized by society and weren't legally considered French. Oh, and obviously women as well. Based on political rights. And then finally we have Haiti, and Haiti is the most complicated of them all on multiple levels, has identity issues solely because of certain races, more than just one race being accepted in the society at a given point in time, and also how the enslaved population that doesn't have a voice yet at this time has its own idea of who they are, and that comes to the surface after they have been emancipated and get independence. And that's whenever you finally get to see this underlying culture surface to its legal fruition, and whenever finally the identities of both legal and personal come together as one. I know it's a lot. If you have any way to cut that down for me, that'd be fantastic, and I'd really appreciate it. But if that's perfect, let me know. Thank you so much. Have a good day.